Okay. Hi my friends, how you doing? Okay, here I'm showing you things we are not going to have. None of those chairs, bulky chairs we need, reclinable or not, we don't need. Not sustainable. None of these huge couches we don't need. Not sustainable. Very bulky. And we're gonna have smaller ones because in the future we're gonna have smaller families, right? Even that now we're gonna have many members of the family. This is good. 2 seats, you see? But we're gonna have paddings, washable paddings. Okay, so none of this we're going to have. No designs like that for anything because not needed. Okay, so those are about chairs and no couches in 3, only couches in 2. Now they can be the long ones that can fit 2 people comfortably. But none of this with 3 seats, none of that. Okay, we're not going to have too many pillows because they're not needed as well. We're not going to have this very tiny college couches because they're not sustainable, not strong, and with or without drawers. Here's another one. So no college couches, they're not strong enough. And I have regular strong couches. Let's talk about bed. None of the beds gonna have 3 designs of 3 on the back, excuse me. Okay, because they're not needed. None of them gonna have fabric on the back attached to the wood because they're not needed. All beds gonna be queen and perfectly queen and nothing bigger, nothing smaller. The smaller one's gonna be single beds for single people. We're not going to have wood like that. That's like painted but not painted, you know, like whichever that it is. We're not going to have this either. We're gonna have solid wood. Can be brown, can be dark brown, but not divided in 3 like that, or all covered fabric like that. We're not going to have that either. Okay, or even the back, you know, covering fabric. We're not going to have that. Okay. All right, so here we're not going to have none of those. We're gonna have shelves, and the closet gonna have a door because that's the most sustainable, most positive for the house. People can have one or another furniture at the but not in 3 like that. At the living room they can have one or another, 1 or 2, right? I think that's plenty. No more is needed. Okay, so no shelves and no big armoires for TV, or the ones that used to be TV, because we're not going to have TVs. No cabinets with glasses on the front of any type, any size. This is not good as well, not needed too much. Gonna have plain wood. This is not needed either. That design we're not going to have. Gonna have more plain, you know. Excuse me. So none of this we're going to have. Okay, we're going to have shelves, and people are going to have proper doors in the closets. On the back of the bed, it's going to be really strong, really sustainable, you know, a very strong frame. Right now, people that already have them, they can have the bunk beds for families that are adopting children. But in 20 years from now, they're all grown up, they're all married, so won't be any bunk bed anymore. So, but if the bunk beds are the ones that take too much space, that's not authorized either because not needed. Okay, we're not going to have those pillows for season, you know, and then they change the pillows, change again, change again. I can have some pillows with a few different pillowcases that they can change, but none of them gonna be printed in name or words because they're not needed. Okay, so for you to have an idea. And let's walk over here. we're gonna have solid regular tables, no high tables, no high chairs like this one's not needed, just regular wooden tables. We're not going to have these either that they fold the sides like here. We're not going to have that because not needed. Okay, we can have round tables. We can have them if they're really strong and durable, but we avoid this little trims because people cannot write on them. So solid plain wood is better. Okay, so just for you to have an idea, we're not going to have none of these objects because they're not needed, not sustainable. You know, we're going to have just regular artwork, as I said, about 4, up to 4 for each living room. That's okay if it's harmonious, made by the family. Okay, so this we're not going to need because people are going to have their proper cabinets at their kitchen, so this is not needed as well. Go ahead. So here we're not going to have any of those drink bottles because they're not needed. No mugs, cups that are painted or with special designs. Nothing of that is needed, or advertised, or first letter of the name, or words. None of this are needed. We're going to have just plain cups, plain mugs. Okay? Alright, so here we're not going to have none of these extra objects, they're not needed. Okay, we're gonna have regular bowls for fruits, washable, really durable, nothing like that because they're not really durable. We're gonna have real wood, you know, trays or real wood bowls. Okay, we're gonna have a regular dishwasher, dish drainer rack, but real strong. Okay, you're gonna see it there, but nothing of that we're gonna need. Okay, so here we have some wall decorations. We don't need anything of that. It's just a waste of materials, you know, promote landfills. People buy more, and they're not needed. None of these are needed. None of these are needed. What counts is a smile, you know, like people to be happy at their homes. That's what counts. You know, that's bless our home, bless this home, welcome to our home. And we're not going to invite other people to our house anyways. Not even siblings, married siblings. So none of this we need. Okay, none of these are needed. All decorations and things that are not really needed. Okay, so none of these kitchen items, we talk about that, none of these we are going to have because they are not needed, not sustainable, not healthy. And other machines for other things, these we're going to have just one per community because our fabric is going to be the most as possible non-wrinkable. But we can have, in case a person needs, at the laundry room, one per the whole community, because you're not going to press all the clothes, you're going to hang them nicely, and a few, you know, for work, a few special one can be pressed, for, of course. So we're not going to have any special coffee maker, simple coffee maker, or any waffle maker, s'mores maker. Look at this, none of that thing. We're not going to have fruit dry rack or none of these things. Okay, all right, so just to be really clear, because they're not needed. Okay, so clips, we're gonna have the simple wooden ones. I think are the most sustainable. These you're gonna see which ones you're gonna sell, because we're still examining which one will be the most sustainable, because families can have a few to close their bags at the kitchen. Okay, tongue, salad tongue, is going to be really strong. The ones that are really durable. Okay? We're not going to have those or those, because all these things we can do with a knife. We don't need any special things for that. Can opener, we're not going to have after the 28 weeks, because nobody's going to have cans anymore. During the 28 weeks we can use them. Okay, we don't need the whole collection of these things, because they're really not needed. Okay, we're not going to have these things either, because we're not going to bake anything. So all these things that's for baking, we don't need. We're not going to use them. Okay, so for you to have an idea, none of this for stoves or this, none of these things you're gonna need. They're not needed. Microwave cover, we don't need that either. Okay, so let's keep going. So we are going to have we're not going to have those for plastics or anything, because those are not needed. Not things to hold detergent inside, they're not needed. None of these for filters, for water filters are needed. We are going to have nets, not to avoid drain to get clogged. You're gonna see which one's gonna be the most sustainable. The sink rack for drying, you know, gonna be really strong. You're gonna see which ones we're going to offer. None of these towels are needed, because as I said, what counts is not what's written in a towel or in a sign, in a picture, but what we talk to each other, how we communicate with each other. Okay, we are going to have some cotton things for hot pots. No, just 2 or 4 per family, that's fine. We don't need any of these things, because we're gonna have solid colors that we can save many machines that we're not needed. No plastic tablecloth, no plastic bathroom curtains, because they're not needed. I'm not going to use them. Okay? Alright, so none of this we're not going to have, because they're not needed. Sure. Okay, look, so here none of these are needed. Look at that. None of these are needed, because we have to learn how to be more simple, live in a simple way. Not those things that are gonna make us happier. It's the way you talk, the things, good things we do together, right? So none of this. We can have a few pictures. We're gonna see which ones we can have. A few picture frames for the family, very special ones that can be changed sometimes. I think every 5 or every 10 years we can change a few, that's okay. But you're gonna see which ones we're gonna be, but not to have the whole house full of them and so many. They are not needed. None of these are needed. None of these are needed. Okay, none of this. Look. None of these, no candles of any type, because they're also not needed. Okay, for any reason, we open the windows, you have scents from outside. None of these objects, no plastic plants, plastic flowers. None of these objects of decoration or tea candles, nothing of these are needed. Okay, so here we are in another session. So people can use their vacuums while they have their carpets until the pickup day. So, but we're not going to have none of these things for the house. We're going to have just regular pressure clean. None of these chemicals for carpet, because no one's going to have carpets. We're just going to have rugs and room rugs that we can wash outside. Okay, we're not going to have anything like this, because they're not needed. Look, none of these things. It's illusion. People think they are happier when they have things hang all around. because they're really not needed. They are not sustainable and we're not going to have them. Okay, let's come here. We're not going to have any of this. We have simple hand soap and dish soap, and look at these things for the hair to be like this, for the hair to be like that. If we eat healthy, we have healthy and strong hair. We don't need this. Hair dryers, people that live in very cold areas, like elders, they can cut shorter if they need. And people that live with them can help them to dry really well on winter days, so no one's gonna get sick. So we really don't need these things that are not needed. No paint, hair dyes of any type, they're not needed. No chemicals for hair or for anything. Nothing with hemp, no hemp products because they're not needed. Okay? The shavers people can have just in the beginning of the 28 weeks until they have their permanent hair removal. We're not going to motivate any other type of diet that's not listed in our videos. So we're gonna focus on that because there are thousands of different diets to get slimmer, to get better, to look better. If we eat healthy, we exercise, that's our main objective. And that's how we're gonna be healthy. We can't have any container like this because they're very sustainable. Look, inside they have aluminum foil, they have the carton with the plastic. They're very, very unsustainable. Okay? And many things that we have now, like turmeric and things, people can use them now if they're available. And then we're gonna plant our own. That's our main objective. Bedding gonna be covered can be covered with fabric, but plain solid fabric. No designs, no prints, because they're not needed. We save machines. Look at this. Nobody gonna have that because they're not needed. People lose them. Children also lose them. None of this hair ties, hair bows, none of these are needed. Look, $3. Look, so many. People lose them over and over. We're not going to have brushes. Women and men can have combs or very thin combs, and that's plenty and enough. We're just gonna have to tied up the hair. People that want for running, they can have. Women can have the comb. Let me see if I find any here similar. No, they don't. But it's something look like that, but this is something else. Okay, people can have just for running. Okay, so here's more shampoos of all types, all sorts. They're not needed. And here you're not going to have any makeup because they're not needed, not sustainable, or nail polish, or eyeliner, and all these things. They're not needed, not sustainable, for lashes or plastic nails. None of these are needed. Okay, or products for the face. Look how many. Look, many, 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 many. We really don't need. None of them are needed. Lipsticks, we can have just the regular neutral ones, and that's already produced. We're not going to produce more. Okay, because we have plenty, and that when they're gone, they're gone. That's enough. There's not needed. We see the beauty that we have inside of us. Okay, so here are also Epsom salt. We're not going to send to other countries. Everybody's going to have their own salt, but not for bath. That they're not needed. And here we are not going to have none of these regular paddings. None of these we're going to have because they're not sustainable. We're just going to have tampons and regular tampons because all these look very unsustainable. Can't burn them because they have plastic with paddings, so they're not good. We're just gonna have regular cotton tampons, okay? And the paddy liners we're not using, okay? So here, none of these things, charcoal, so many items with charcoal, none of them are needed, or hemp, or because they became famous somehow, we don't need them. Shavers just for the first weeks of the 28 weeks. I think we wrote 4 or 8 weeks, depends the region, up to 8 weeks from the 28 weeks. And so people gonna reuse them over and over again because they're not going to be available for sale. They have to manage to use the ones they already have. Everybody gonna have some until they have their permanent hair removal, but they're not going to be available for sale anymore. So if you have any, keep them safely while it's needed. Okay, none of these bulky sweaters gonna be made or needed. None of this. We're gonna have regular sweaters. People that live really in cold areas, they're gonna have thicker, but we don't need any of these extra decorations or extra paddings. None of these are needed. Imagine, even here, that's Florida, so warm. Okay, so this is, we're not going to have any electric toothbrush because they're not needed, not sustainable, need batteries. They're really not needed. Okay? Alright, so none of this are needed, and here they're not needed. None of this. Look, if we brush our teeth really well, we don't need any extra things made. Alright, thank you.